Skydio 2. Why the hype? Got that coming up next. Last night, Marcus Crawford and I hosted Rotor Talk Live, and we did have quite a busy show last night discussing a number of topics. But one of them we spent a considerable amount of time on was discussing all the hype regarding the Skydio 2. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and roll that clip in its entirety. So, we're going to kind of switch gears here a little bit, and one of the, it's just incredible this. If you want to call it like mania, the Skydio 2 mania that has just absolutely positively overwhelmed us. I mean, Mavic Mini, yes, but the Skydio 2 has just it's through the roof in terms of popularity. From last I heard, I think all three, if not all two, if not all three of their batches are completely sold out. Okay. The popularity of this drone is going through the roof. Marcus, why is this drone so popular? Why is there all the hype about this?
Well, I think because it pretty clearly is the next leap in technology from that artificial intelligence, obstacle avoidance point of view. You saw what I did with the Mavic 2 there, how it kind of hesitated and looked around. You're not going to see that on the Skydio, or at least the videos we've seen so far. That thing just takes off, and wherever you're at, it gets you right in center of frame instantly. Now, as some have pointed out, is that conducive to good, smooth filmmaking? Maybe not, but to be able, if I could know that I can safely fly my drone, even with the controller now, I'm saying, not the beacon, if I can fly it through a grove of trees or near something and know that I'm not going to hit it, that's a big deal to me. And I think a lot of people, it truly is a game changer. Plus the other thing is that it's American designed and manufactured.
Yes. And that was just Mike Kenny just put that in there as well. It's an American drone. And I think, that's really grabbed a lot of people's attention because, while the Evo was, it's an American company, it was manufactured over in China and shipped over there. With the Skydio, it's assembled out in California. I mean, that's where they're putting them together.
Hey, take a look at what Cold War Television says, and I think that's a great point. It's a good B-roll drone.
You know what, Cold War Television, I think you really kind of hit a nail on the head with that. Yeah, it is going to be a very good, excellent B-roll drone. Yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right with that because, and I think the thing that really kind of gets a lot of people's attention, and it grabbed my attention right away, is there was a controller with this. Okay, it wasn't just completely autonomous like the Skydio 1 was. Okay, and got to give Skydio so much credit because what they did was they went out there and they partnered with Parrot to have them just, can we use that controller? Parrot said absolutely. It's a win-win for both. I mean, Skydio didn't have to spend all that time and resources because to create something from scratch like a controller versus using someone else's controller, that's a huge cost savings right there. Okay. And, Parrot makes the money. Skydio gets an excellent product, and we as consumers benefit by having that at a reasonable price. I mean, the original Skydio 1, I think it was like $2,700, and now it's just like, it's incredible.
Yep.
It really is there. And, and one of the things that somebody mentioned earlier today too, is a lot of these videos are coming from overseas. We're not seeing a lot of people from here in the United States getting a hold of the Skydio and testing them. And a lot of people were asking me, are we going to see some more videos from people here in the United States? And see, I would say this: if we were at, if this was say a DJI release, okay, obviously as soon as it hit, people would put their videos out. Evidently, there's no NDA kind of thing with Skydio. I don't think they have that. That's why all these people are putting these videos out. But it's interesting how Skydio is doing this. They're kind of doing it backwards from what we've seen as far as DJI is concerned.
Well, and they're trying to appeal to a lot of their appeal is they're clearly advertising towards the non-drone user. So somebody that is a mountain biker or into some kind of action sports or whatever. And just like what GoPro did, quite frankly.
Yeah. Well, Drone Worship Reloaded put down there, the parts come from China. It's assembled in the U.S. Unfortunately, we still have China to thank for the technology. That's correct. Okay, that's something that's a good point. Some
of the hardware partially.
Yeah. And I think what's real interesting was one of the questions that I had from a number of people were how many are going to be in each batch that Skydio was coming out with. And Skydio got back to me and they said they weren't releasing that information, which I think, and I kind of think for their sake, they didn't want to give out company information to DJI, for example, okay, which is a competitor of theirs. They don't want other companies to know, how many drones they can make. Now, we've seen pictures that video of the assembly line on there, and it looks to be like a very manual process. And if you watch the video that I put out, taken from the Mavic Air that was on the internal memory, you could see how, when the Mavic Air was being made, a lot of that is a very automated process. There's still a lot of human intervention with DJI, but I think, you're seeing a difference in terms of manufacturing styles, because and one of the things that I think if the Skydio 2 takes off and is such a good hit, which I think it will be, if it lives up to all of its hype and what we're thinking about, I think what we'll see there is they'll have the capital to be able to spend to improve their manufacturing facilities, thereby getting more of these drones out to the public. And I think the other thing too is I think they probably, if they're smart, when they're coming out with a new product like this, not only, kind of limit these batches when they get them out there in the hands of people. Okay. This first batch that you and I and Ron are going to be in, it's going to be interesting, when we get these, because we're going to get them out there. We're going to put everything, we're going to put them through their paces. We're going to take a look and see, if everything is as it should be.
So you keyed on it a couple minutes ago, Bill, when you were talking about the controller. So now they're appealing to both sides of it. The person that's the action sports person, that they're just trying to capture whatever their sport is, whether it be mountain biking or motorcycling or like Lauren was pointing out, that we all saw the video of the guy that was with the sail board where the drone almost hit the wave. That was pretty darn interesting. But they're giving us drone flyers. They're giving us a controller too. So the way I look at it, we're kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the beacon works, and also how the controller works. And I'm real interested in what the onboard cameras, what the sensing on that. And somebody had talked about, and I saw this on a forum somewhere, about being able to tap into those the sensor cameras on there. And, maybe down the road that Skydio might have some type of a firmware update to be able to do that. And that was kind of a very interesting thought. That's something that I think will be real interesting to see if something like that can't happen.
So the other thing that I think some of us might be overlooking from Skydio's perspective is, I'm willing to bet that this drone is just the beginning, in that they're trying to prove their ability to create artificial intelligence. And just think of all the applications that that's kind of obstacle avoidance and quick thinking. Because if you think about it, not only is that drone avoiding an obstacle, it's also thinking about how to get around it and reacquire the target that it had. So it's a really, like others have said, 256 cores of computing power in that thing. It is a flying supercomputer. Think of the applications for aeronautics, for automotive. I'm willing to bet that this is just the beginning for Skydio.
Well, like we just talked about with this patent that Ford applied for, okay, this would be a perfect drone for something like that on a smaller scale, of course, with to have all that type of obstacle avoidance on it and to have that processing power on board. You're not really necessarily looking for that 4K 30 frames per second kind of a feed from this. When a 1080 will do, especially, or a 720 will do in an emergency type of situation. So that's a really valid point, Marcus. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And also too, you also look, like I said, we talked about the original Skydio was at $2,700. I mean, that was, I was like real excited when it came out and talking about an American company and everything. Then I looked at the price and I was just like, okay. It's out of reach for almost everybody.
Yeah. So for us, we all just kind of made that same calculation that you did. Well, gosh, it'd be kind of fun to have one, but not for $2,500. But at $1,000, it's a whole different story.
Yeah. At $1,000, that's a big difference, and I think that's something that people will key in on. Lon put up a good comment there. Problem will be the guys coming from the Mavics will be disappointed with the range, and I think he's right. I think people need to keep in mind. I would say this, Marcus. What's the range with the Anafi?
The Anafi, you know what? I can't tell you. I've had it out 2 clicks, and that's as far as I ever wanted to go with it. Okay. I've never tested it out at full range, but I was out over the lake one time and I had it out 2 clicks.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of thinking what we're gonna see here is that as far as the range is concerned, and I think Lon brought up a good point. If you're expecting to get like that Mavic 2 type of range, you're not going to get that, okay? Because the transmission system is completely different on this, and the processing power on this is more geared toward obstacle avoidance than anything else. I mean, that's its primary mission, and getting the remote controller in this case, I think it's a bonus. I really do.
Yeah, there's some good comments here. Computer Techie is saying Skydio is like Tesla. I think that's, I mean, probably not exactly, but I think that's a valid comment. They definitely are probably in their very beginning of what we're going to see from them. Will we see Skydio taxis, air taxis at some point? It's possible.
It could be.
And then Michael Weldon talking about how will it perform over water. With the cameras, I don't know, because we all know that DJI drones, they always tell you to turn off all of their downward facing sensors when they're over water. So that's a good question. We did see the video of the guy with the sailboard. And the drone, it missed. You thought it was going to hit that wave.
Yeah.
It went up right there at the last second.
That was real interesting. Now, Drone Worship Reloaded put in there range is 1.5 kilometers. So, that really kind of puts things into perspective, especially, when we're spoiled flying like the Mavic 2s, with the range that we get with something like that. So I think, again, one of the things, and we said this about the Mavic Mini, and I think the important point is we need to kind of, if I want to use the word, temper our expectations, because this is not a Mavic 2, okay? And it doesn't even pretend to be a Mavic 2, all right? I think we're going to get good quality to maybe excellent quality in terms of the pictures will be okay. I think the video will be good to excellent, but I think the obstacle avoidance is the key feature in this, and I think people are going to use it the most for that. However, it's going to be interesting to see how this works with the remote, because we really haven't seen, except for that video that was inside the garage with the cars, we really haven't seen any video as far as the remote is concerned. So that's going to be real interesting to see how that responds and how that behaves. I'm really excited about it. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Hey, can I throw one more thing out there, Bill?
Sure.
With regard to range, I got to be honest with you. You know, they're making a big deal out of that with the Xeno, that the new one, the Xeno Pro is going to have 4 kilometers. I got to tell you, that Xeno will go all of a kilometer. That's just as far as I ever want to go with that drone. I mean, you know, for sure, if you're saying that thing's in line of sight when it's out there a kilometer, you've got some kind of Superman eyes or something. So when we're talking about going out miles and so forth, I'm not sure. The only application I can see where that is something that's valid are those guys that go out and they chase cruise ships, or they're going out to look at like an oil derrick or something out on the ocean. Help me out in the chat, guys. What other time do you need that kind of range?
Yeah, that's, you know, that kind of range. I'm trying to look through the chat right now. Did you guys see the guy on the motorcycle? Yes, we did. I did see that, Edwin.
Baker X Derrick or whatever his name, or X.
Yeah, and Long puts, then there's a lack of accessories and third-party apps. And yeah, right now, you know, one of the things that I think I've heard quite a few comments on is, you know, you have to charge the battery in the drone. There's no, you know, there's no, like you have, like I have with the back here with my Mavic 2, there's no, you know, dock to be able to charge multiple batteries at once. So that's going to be real interesting as far.
Hey, Bill, so Rick Halber is pointing out that there was a video, I think it was that Baker X Derrick guy that put one out using a controller today.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Rick, thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate that. I think that's important. I think I'm going to try to find that and see if I can drop it in the description after the show tonight, because I think that's important enough. You know, I don't want to beat this any more than it's worth, but I think it's important here that, you know, Skydio is just taken off like fire, and I wanted to kind of get into some of the reasons why this happened tonight, or why this is happening, and what we can expect to see when we get these. And I want to thank Lon especially for kind of like putting that great comment in there about tempering our expectations, so to speak, because of the range. And I know Drone Worship, thank you for putting Reloaded. Thank you for putting the range in there too. And I think we need to just temper our expectations, but at the same time, it's a new drone and it's exciting. And I think it's really kind of captured a lot of attention from a lot of people.
Hey, so Metro Drones is saying he doesn't use that range in his DJI, but he says it gives him the warm and fuzzy that you probably won't lose it. And that is a good point.
Yes. Beach Buck 1, search and rescue. Is answering your question.
Another good point.
That is a very good point.
Yep.
Rick Halbert, they have multi-battery charger in the works. Yeah, that's a good thing, Rick. I think that's something that's going to be real important as far as that's concerned. And especially, I mean, Lon brought up the third-party apps too. I think that's going to be real important that those apps will be available for us, or, you know, maybe 1 or 2 will be available at startup. I have one on pre-order for sure, but I'm keeping my eyes. Okay, part of the hype about the Skydio has been a lack of releases this year. Lauren, that's a very good point as well.
No doubt.
That is absolutely right. I mean, up until this point, the only things that we've seen really released, DJI released, you know, the agricultural drones this year. You know, they had the FPV releases, but it was really FPV parts and you know, remotes and things like that. Really wasn't a drone per se, and we really haven't seen a lot. I mean, even in the non-toy grade drones, as far as releases were concerned. And then boom, we get this, and it's just like it really kind of captured everybody's imagination as far as that's concerned.
It certainly has ours, hasn't it, Bill?
Oh, it has. It really has. You know, question of the day. Why do you think there's all this hype for the Skydio 2? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like the content from today's video, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and tell others about the channel. Also be sure to check out my Facebook page, where I do post daily updates regarding the drone and drone industry and anything DJI, Autel, or Parrot related. Also be sure to check out my Twitter account, where I do post daily updates, and Instagram as well. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.